Hi everyone, welcome to day 7 of the Azure Advent Calendar. It is heartwarming to see all the contributions from the community all over the world. Thank you very much to Gregor and to Richard for this great initiative. My name is Adil Touati and I'm a certified Azure Solutions Architect and DevOps expert located in Montreal, Canada. Today we will be discussing AKS monitoring with Prometheus. So let's get to it. So we will cover Prometheus components, then we will talk about how we will deploy it or deploy them to our cluster, AKS cluster, and finally we will configure the components and adapt them to AKS. Alongside the video, I have prepared a blog post on the steps that we will be following today, so please go check it. You will have detailed steps there and all the scripts and the configuration that we'll be running. And also you will have a link to the GitHub repo I will publish for this purpose. Or you can follow me on Twitter or connect. So if you have any questions about DevOps or Kubernetes or Azure, please feel free to reach out to me. Okay. So the first part, which is Prometheus components, we will be deploying through a Helm chart, which is the Prometheus operator Helm chart, the stable one, 3 components that this Helm chart will take care of. So as you might know, or maybe if you are new to this, the Helm is the packager, is the package manager for solutions or for software or how you want to call it on Kubernetes. So I will show you how, like with a line, with a command line, you can have loads of components from service, from services, Kubernetes services, to pods, to deployments, to daemon sets, to replica sets, and all those components configured automatically for you. So the last thing is how to configure its components, the component of Prometheus. We will see in particular AKS specific configuration using configuration like values, the YAML configuration files, and then we will configure alerts. Yes, so here, this is the architecture of Prometheus that we will be deploying. So on Kubernetes, today we're using AKS, which is the managed solution from Azure, from Microsoft. So it deploys the same on any Kubernetes cluster. So we have a persistent storage where the metrics are stored, and we have like we call them the time series. It's a time series database, and we have servers like Prometheus server that is running on the platform, scraping the metrics and storing them in this database. The second component is the alert manager, which is a very important component in sending alerts in case we have issues, or in case we have some discrepancies or things that are not responding properly, essentially the metrics that we're scraping. So we have possibility to use many communication channels to send alerts. Myself personally, I use Slack. So it's easier. It's a webhook, and it's the same. You can use webhooks for Xmatters, for instance, for alerting, like enterprise alerting, or any other communication channel like SMTP for email. If you want to receive email, there is documentation on the preview. Like if you go to this Helm charts repo, you have all the configuration info, how to do things like this. And the third component that we will be interested in is Grafana, which will be helping us visualize and show us dashboards. We can build dashboards to have view on our platform and how it's operating. All right, so we will go through deploying using Helm. So there is something that before going to this, we'll just say there's something important that you need to know that we need some like the prerequisites for this video. I haven't talked about them. So the first thing is basic knowledge of Kubernetes commands and components. So you can walk your way through what we'll be doing. Also, you need a working AKS cluster, so you can provision it using the create AKS script I will be providing in the repo, in the AKS dash Prometheus repo on my GitHub, which is Adilku, that you have on the slides there. And this script will help you provision a 3-node cluster, AKS cluster, so you can play with it and try to use the configuration we will be seeing today. And also you need Helm deployed to the cluster. We will not be showing how we deploy Helm in this video, but I assume that like this is one of the prerequisites that we need to fulfill. So as I mentioned, you have the repo there, so it's like I encourage you to go and clone it and use it for the purposes of going through this. So just before going to the just to finish on the components part, Prometheus, for those who do not know, is the second project that was adopted by the CNCF, the Cloud Native Computing Foundation, after Kubernetes. So it's a very important project. There is a lot of contribution from people on the open source community, adding to it and making it stable and improving the function, the features and functionality. And okay, so let's jump to the deployment. So for the deployment, if you download the repo, if you clone the repo, you can see that we have a file there called install Prometheus, which is basically it's called in a Helm command that you can see in the bottom of this screen of this capture. So basically, what we'll be using is Helm upgrade with the -- install, telling Helm that if you don't find the release called Prometheus, install it. So what is great with this is for continuous integration and continuous delivery. We can have this script running. We can run it whenever we want, and you will see it throughout this video. We can run this script to add new configuration or change some of the configuration that we deployed previously. So that's a great way of just running one script, just modifying your values. Either like you can see in this screen, we have two values files. We have Prometheus value underscore values, and you have alert manager underscore values. We will, for this part, we will only focus on the first one, which is Prometheus values. So I will show you later, but this is the one that will help us specify, like customize our configuration for AKS. Here, so to start with, we will try to do an out-of-the-box Prometheus operator. Let's say you take a vanilla configuration, you just deploy it to your cluster. So the command is basically go get me the latest, like the stable Prometheus operator Helm chart, deploy it on the cluster, and deploy it on the namespace monitoring. Now we are on the path, the scripts folder on the cloned repo. We will see what do we have in that folder. We have the install Prometheus. We will double check that we have the out of the box configuration with the commented section. Okay, let's check that. Okay, so we have the last two lines are commented, and the other line above is commented too, so we're good to go. So we will try to install. Before that, I will just double check with you. Cube control. Let me see. Do we have any uh, namespace called monitoring? We don't have any, and we don't have any like yeah. So we don't have any namespace with that name. So we don't have any like I don't have any components Prometheus deployed on this cluster. Just for the purpose of this, get. So yeah, so it's a 3-node worker cluster with the Kubernetes 1.15.5. So it's the latest that is available as of today on AKS. So yeah, let's go and install the Prometheus there. So it's running. It doesn't find any namespace, so it creates it the monitoring namespace, and it is it didn't find any release called Prometheus, so it is installing it. It's amazing the amount of things that this helps us do. Okay, so we can see a lot of things that have been provisioned. The list is impressive. So all those components were deployed for us. So if we go to the we can check now the namespace monitoring. We just see the pods that are created. So we have a couple of pods there. We have the exporter nodes. Those are used for scraping the metrics from the nodes, from our Kubernetes nodes. You see that we have 3 of them. These are deployed in a daemon set. Each node on each exporter node on a worker node, and also we have here the Prometheus pod with the containers that are running for scraping the metrics. We have the operator, which is the one that is responsible for deploying all these components. Also, we have alert manager here, and we have the Grafana pod there. So everything is configured now. So for making it simple, I didn't configure any ingress for Prometheus, things like that. So what we'll be doing is going through the using the port forward command there to connect to our Prometheus interface and see what's going on there. Now navigating to localhost port 1990 takes us to the Prometheus site, or the configuration, the interface. So here, if we go to alerts, we will see that we have some red. The watchdog there is normal. This is an alert that is firing to make sure that the alerting and the mechanism of alerting is working properly. So this is something that should be ignored. It will serve us for testing, for instance, that we can send alerts to a webhook or something like that. We will be using it later, but you should not be worried about this one. The ones that are that should be worrying, but there are false positives here. That this is what I wanted to explain to you. We have target down here, and we have the kube control manager, the kube scheduler, the alert manager. It says it's down. No. So we have a bunch of components that it says they are down. All of these, like, we need to address them. I will show you. If you go here to the targets page, we can see that we have core DNS is up. It's scraping is working on it. The Grafana is working properly. Here, everything related to a component that is on the master nodes or the control plane is not. We don't have any info. We have an error here, We have an error, but we don't have any info. It doesn't have any endpoints, no URLs, like no IPs, whatever, and no ports. So it doesn't know about them, which is normal because we don't have access to this control plane because of the fact that we are on a managed Kubernetes instance. Like it's managed by Microsoft and it's shared by multiple customers. So it's normal that we do not have access to it. So we will see how we can remove those rules like from our configuration, so we don't have them there polluting our interface. Also, there is something interesting here, the kubelet. The kubelet is something that is running on the worker nodes. It's responsible of deploying the, the containers and the pods on the on those worker nodes. So it looks like it's down. The problem with this is the out of the box configuration of Prometheus scrapes on the HTTPS URL, whereas the metrics that are exposed on AKS are on the HTTP protocol. So we need to change that. I will show you how we can use the files, configuration YAML files to address those issues. Apart from that, everything is all right. So we will go back to our configuration and see how we can do it. Now check in the go into the repo that we downloaded there. So we will first thing we will look at this file here. So this file gives us the configuration. So for the kubelet, we need to tell it the operator, the Prometheus operator, to use not to use HTTPS instead, and use HTTP instead of it. So we'll set this value to false. So we will add. This is something we add. This is just a configuration we add from the set of values that we can configure for our cluster or like Prometheus operator. Also, we will disable all the scraping of the master nodes components. So we will put the kube control at false, scheduler to etcd, and the proxy. So we will just go and change this. So for the purpose of this, correcting this, we will just do this. How we call it? Just uncomment this line in the beginning. So basically, we will just rerun our help upgrade with only the Prometheus values we've just looked at, and see how it will configure the components for us. So we'll save, and then I will go back to my command line and run it again. I will run the SR Prometheus again, which will do an upgrade. It will find that we have on Prometheus. It didn't tell us that no existing Prometheus release there, so it's found it, and then it will run the upgrade on it and apply our the configuration we just added for the scraping on the HTTP instead of HTTPS and all those things. Okay, so let's do a port forward for our Prometheus and see how it looks now. So we will start by refreshing this page, and we'll see if we have anything new. So everything is up and running. We have the kubelet is up, and we don't have anything related to the control plane anymore. If we go to alerts there, so same, we don't have anything, have only green all the way. So this is how we just fixed the AKS false positives. So now we have a clean dashboard for our alerting system, and the only alert that we have firing is the watchdog, which is normal. All right, so we finished the configuration there. So there is something that is that we want to do is the configure alerting. So if we navigate to the alert manager value, so this is something that it's a sample configuration. You can adapt yours. You can add to it. You will not be using my webhook. I will remove it after this video. I don't want anyone sending me false notifications. So yes, this is a sample alert manager configuration. We have that all anything that we all like the receiver that receives all the alerts is the one that I call my Slack channel, and which is configured here. My Slack channel is a webhook for Slack posting to the AKS Prometheus channel. And also here I configure that anything that is received with this kind of severity warnings should be sent to this. So what I will do is I will just force the watchdog. If you see watchdog is to null, this is how we keep it. So it's not sending anywhere. So we don't receive false like alerts for that. So I will just do this here. Put it there. Okay, my Slack channel, and I will just save it. If I run the script again, the Helm chart, the Helm upgrade, it will pick up this configuration, but we need prior to that to tell our install Prometheus to take into account this file, this configuration. So we'll add it to it, and then once we run it, it will launch the configuration for us. Now connecting to my to Slack, I can see that I have a new message there, and it's related to the watchdog alert that I have just received a couple of minutes ago. So yeah, it looks like the alerting is working. Now we will see we'll try to connect to the alert manager also, the interface. So we'll try to get it there. If I go to Cube, on the monitoring space, gives me all the pods. So we have here the alert manager pod there. Let's grab it there, and if I do like this, port forward, and we'll connect to the port 9093, which is the alert manager port. Okay, we'll see. We'll try to go on localhost on a browser with this port 9093 and see what we have. Okay, so we are on the alert manager interface there. So we can see that we have one alert firing, which is a watchdog. This is what we have. And if we see look at the configuration, so this is the configuration we have, and we can see that we have the my Slack channel there. So it's being picked up by alert manager. So all the configuration we set in the values file have been applied to the alert manager. Now we will try to see our Grafana dashboards and see what's configured there. So I will just go and get the Grafana port there. Okay, so Grafana is listening on port 3000. So we'll just modify this. All right, we go and check the dashboard now. We're connected to Grafana there on port on localhost port 3000. The credentials are you can find them on my the default ones on the blog post. So here, yeah, we can see our configuration. We can see our how we call it, our the different dashboards we have for our cluster. We can see the networking for pods, where we are. Okay, Kubernetes. Okay, we can see the usage there, the resource usage of our cluster. So there are many info like dashboards about. Okay, Discord, just go to it. Yeah, you can see CPU usage per pod and everything. We can drill down and see how the resources we have are used and things like that. So that gives you an idea. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope that you have learned something new today.